it's same at schools. They use Google thing at school and nobody knows how to use it, not even the teachers. Can you hear me?
Yeah, like I can hear you.
Okay.
I saw in VK that one unit they did an communication lesson.
Oh yeah.
So they had to send pictures of how they run around the room, how they make exercises, and it's so funny. And a lot of people they write like, "Oh, sorry, I've got problems with my Wi-Fi."
Yeah. I just can't do it, and nobody can stop you. Nobody can say no. It's not true. Okay, where is Sergey?
Yeah, he has to press the button like join the call.
What is it? Join the chat?
Yeah, you can also send him a link like
I did.
that he would join. He did. Yeah, he just has to accept it.
Well, meanwhile, how's your whale?
Yeah, it's still like I have to do the embroidery with inlaid ornaments, but I really hope that I can make a photo shoot because I live in suburbs, and I hope that photo studio won't be closed next week.
Well, you just hope.
Really
You just
that.
hope. God, everything's get closed for no reason.
Yeah, so I think I will just make professional photos next week, and I can show it or maybe post it in the group.
What do you want?
I can see a cat.
Yes.
Hi. What's his name?
Her name is Percy.
Hello. Hello, you're beautiful.
She is. And
So
she's
big.
really jealous, Each time I have a lesson, she just has to come and join it. She's like, I'm here. Wow.
For some really weird reason, kids, they just love computers. They love to sit on them, to write something.
No, I think maybe because sometimes computers are hot. It's nice and warm there.
That's true.
But that cat just likes a company. She's really talkative. Wow. There are more cats around here, really.
You have 4 kids, right?
Intruder located!
Oh dear. What is my Skype account? Because I don't know.
Yes, Skype account. Wait a second. So, your name is. What's your name?
I don't know. The Skype is weird.
Yes, so your name is Call Me
Uh-huh.
Romana. Call me
Call
Romana.
me Romana.
Romana.
Uh-huh. Okay. Well, let's hope he figures it out. Or maybe we can just start reading it.
Okay. That's great.
Okay. You have it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's start. Let's try to read it. Whales weep not. D.H. Lawrence. They say the sea is cold, but the sea contains... You have a delay. You have a delay.
What? Sorry?
You have a delay.
No, I don't know him, but I googled him and I read his poem maybe for 10 times, and only after 10th time I realized what it was about.
Wow, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, if you look at D.H. Lawrence, it's like all his prose, all his poetry is pretty much about it. But I say, do you have a delay in Skype? Because I'm reading it and you're reading it a second later. Okay. It's a bit funny. Okay, let's do it. Let's bring some mess into the system. Okay. Are you there? What's going on? What's going on? Oh dear. Oh dear. Okay, let's read it. Let's read it.
Yeah.
They say the sea is cold, but the sea contains the hottest blood of all, and the wildest. Oh, there's Sergey coming somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope.
Start again with him.
If he's here. Hello, Sergey, where are you?
He's not here.
I sent him the link.
Is he, yeah, he should press the button, like the green button, and it says, "Do you want to join the call?"
He's a silly person. He's trying to call me, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
He's
Is
silly.
there also, like, I think,
Okay,
okay,
a link
like,
again.
when you
No
open
link.
the
Join
when you
the
open the
army.
Intruder located.
Well, that's what happens when you enter the technocratic age, and nobody knows what to do.
Exactly.
Okay,
and Wi-Fi
don't
is slow all the
call
time.
me. Join the chat.
It's the green button. Like, if you want me,
No.
I can send you a screenshot.
Uh-huh. That's the cat. Oh no.
He's,
She
she is so big.
She is.
How old is she?
Well, I don't really know. I'm not sure. Oh dear. 4. Who's the 4th person? You have 4 people in here.
What?
Weird.
No. We have 2 Sergeys
You have
for some reason.
Interesting.
two.
Okay. The more Sergeys, the better. I don't mind.
Well, I hope so. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Well, I can hear you.
Well, I can hear you, but I can't see
But you can't see me.
No, we can't see
No.
you.
It's interesting. So one of you can see me but can't hear me. The other can hear me but can't see me. That's division of labor. That's nice.
Well, anyway,
Well,
let's start. It's about time we started doing the poem. All right. What is it?
Okay.
So let's read the poem. Mind the delay. So it might be a bit funny. So but we'll try and read it anyway. Whales Weep Not by D.H. Lawrence. They say the sea is cold.
The sea is cold.
But the sea contains
But the sea contains
the hottest blood of all, and the wildest, the most urgent.
most urgent.
All the whales in the wider deep.
The wide deep.
Hot are they
What are they?
as they urge
As they
on
urge
and
on
and dive. Oh dear.
dive
Beneath the icebergs.
the iceberg.
We're going to break the matrix, you know. The right whales, the sperm whales, the hammerheads, the killers.
Whales, hammerheads, the killers.
There they blow, hot, wild, white breath out of this sea.
Breath out of the sea.
And they rock through the sensual, ageless
Through the
ages.
ageless ages. ages.
On the depths of the seven seas.
On the depths of the seven seas.
And through the soul they reel with drunk delight. And in the tropics tremble they with love.
Tremble they with love.
And roll with massive, strong desire like gods. Then the great bull lies up against his bride. In the blue deep bed of the sea. As mountain pressing on mountain. In the zest of life. And out of the inward roaring of the inner red ocean of whale blood. The long tip reaches strong and dense like the maelstrom tip and comes to rest in the clasp and the soft wild clutch
Of
the she whale's fathomless body. And over the bridge of the whale-strong fellows, linking the wonder whales, the burning archangels under the sea, keep passing back and forth, keep passing archangels of bliss, from him to her, from her to him. Great cherubim that wait on whales in mid-ocean, suspended in the waves of the sea. Great heaven of whales in the waters, old hierarchies. And enormous mother whales lie dreaming, suckling their whale tender young. And dreaming of strange whale eyes wide open in the waters of the beginning and the end. All bull whales gather their women and whale calves in a ring. When danger threatens on the surface of the ceaseless flood, and rage themselves like great fierce seraphim facing the threat, encircling the huddled monsters of love. And all this happens in the sea, in the soul, where God is also love, but without words. And Aphrodite is the wife of whales. Most happy she. And Venus, among the fishes, skips and is a she-dolphin. She is the gay, delighted porpoise, sporting love in the sea. She is the female tunny fish, round and happy among the males, and dance with happy blood, dark rainbow bliss in the sea. Isn't it crazy? Mighty.
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
you read it and then you try to read other poetry and you think like, no, that's weak. You don't want to read any other poetry after you read that. It's really strong. I say,
It's
it
really
is.
long.
It is. So now what we need to ask ourselves is, why is it strong? What is so important going on here? So why do we feel like it's a very strong poem?
I think it's so clear, like it's so transparent, because on the one hand you have a lot of metaphors and you have these comparisons, and it feels quite poetic at the beginning, and you think, oh, it's going to be well, about whales, and whales, they are beautiful, and probably he's going to talk about the circle of life, and all this endless stuff, and blah, 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 and, this high language. And while you read it, you see all these words about sex and stuff, and you start to think, oh my dear Lord, is he really doing this? Like
he does it all the time. He does it all the time.
Yeah, and it's such a big contrast in your head. Then you feel confused and ashamed a little bit, and you have a lot of mixed emotions. And because you have so much emotions, I think that is the reason why you feel that this poetry is so strong, because it affects you a lot.
Okay, so why do we feel a bit ashamed and a bit confused?
Well, it's just not that common to talk about such stuff, and we still have this feeling deep down that if you talk about your sexual life, or if you just talk about such stuff, it means that you're rude, you came from a bad place, you don't know what love is, because it's not love, and it's just really bad to talk about this, and you're going down to hell.
Yeah, hooray! Okay, so
I just feel like that's it. There was this movie, a really famous one, it's called Mean Girls, and they had a scene when they had a sexual education lesson, and the teacher, he was like, don't have sex, or you will get pregnant and die.
Oh, okay. Well, if you look at...
Just, No, keep going.
Well, I just want to say, if you look at D.H. Lawrence's work, poetry and prose, he does it a real lot. So when he does it, when he talks about sexual things, you don't feel like it's abusive. You feel like it's a part of nature, and a very strong part of nature too. So I guess what he does in this poem, he does two things at least. One thing is, whales weep not. Okay, so why do we need to talk about whales that weep not? Why do we suppose that whales might weep?
Well, as I remember, it's kind of their language. They can sing. I don't remember when.
Singing. Singing is different, but weeping. When do you weep? When you're unhappy?
When you're not happy, but as I remember, it is said that whales do such weeping, singing sounds when, they're looking for a female. I might be wrong, but
I
think it's that.
Sergey, are you there? Because we can't see you.
Oh, yes, I am. You can't see me.
No, we just see a glowing circle with the first letters of your name.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
Let me try and do something about it.
Maybe you just cancelled your camera up. Yeah,
hello.
Hi.
Here I am. Yes, hello.
Good.
Hi.
You
Nice to see you.
To say something.
So what do you say about it?
Well, I don't know. It doesn't, to be honest, it doesn't seem strong to me. It does seem very long. Much longer than I would have preferred. But otherwise, I don't really feel I have any positive feelings towards it. Rather, again, you might draw some psychological conclusions from them. But I do feel that I resent this poem.
Yeah, and that is good. Because a normal person, when reading a thing like that, is like, no, you're not supposed to do it, that's disgusting. And today only a lazy person doesn't do it.
You're supposed to do that. Only H. Lawrence, you're supposed to do that because that's the image you create of someone who is not afraid of talking on these things. But it might be true 100 years ago. It's definitely not true now. Now we are not afraid of talking about these things.
No, but we do it differently. today when people put these things in their work, they do it as to funny noises. They do it as to shock people or to show, oh, we can do it, hooray, hooray. But they do it really, really in a vulgar way. Whether Lawrence does it in a more balanced way, I guess. I mean, we had humanity had been talking about that stuff since the beginning of the ages, right? That sort of literature had always been around, but not in that way. So what he does here, he does two things. One thing he does is he says, chill out, people. Stop worrying. Just stop doing it. You're worrying about wrong things. Because if we talk about whales, then what's the first idea that comes to our head? No, save the whales! Right? So we have a lot of it. We have like, save the whales! Save the trees! Save the bees! Save the dolphins! Save the planet! And your eyes go big and big and big. He said, well, maybe they don't really need saving. Who might you be to say, oh no, I need to save the whales? Maybe their civilization is far more great than ours. That takes us back to Douglas Adams and what he said about dolphins, which he believes, and other people do too. The dolphins come from another planet. They only came here like 100 years ago anyway. So what he says is, we people, humans, we think that our civilization is great because we have wars and money and digital watches. And the dolphins think that their civilization is better for the same reasons. So maybe when we start, oh, save the whales, save that, maybe we should stop and think a bit. Do they need saving? Maybe we should start looking at ourselves first. So as you can see in that poem, the whales are completely happy and content and need no saving. They're powerful, they're amazing, they're big, they're godlike. Do you ever need to save God? No? Okay? So what do you say?
Mm-hmm.
What do you say about that aspect of the poem?
Well, I think despite you said that God, they don't need to be saved, they still need to be believed in. So they need our faith to exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just starting to think that I don't even know how to say that, like, we might not stress out and go around like save the whales,
Mm-hmm.
the planet is dying,
Mm-hmm.
but we still think about it, and we still need to encourage us to pay attention to that issue, at least the whales.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's kind of mixed thoughts, but that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, good. Sergey?
Well, nothing to add at the moment. I'm just interested in your opinions.
Okay.
Just still feel so ashamed of this poem. Like, when you read it, I think you can, like, feel like your cheeks are burning and you're blushing for some reason.
Well, because you're looking at
Yes.
something really private. Again.
Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go behind the curtains.
But they have no problem about it. They have no fear. So they're like people in paradise. They do it naturally. They are not afraid. They're not shy. Okay? It's like Adam and Eve in the paradise, and they walked around naked and had no problems with it. So the same whales that you can see what they're doing, and it's not a problem because they don't do it to impress somebody. They do it because it's natural, because it's their way of life. Yeah. Okay. So that's one thing that he does. What else does he do here beautifully, and in all his work, or most of his work, is he brings us back to our body. Because now we live in this virtual age. You can see we are meeting by Skype today. And when we look around, and especially, I guess, this generation, which is growing up with gadgets, the world becomes more and more virtual, more and more illusory. When we look at ourselves, how do we see ourselves? We see ourselves as like a big, clever head, intelligence, and a little body to carry it around, which is not really important. That's how most people see it. And somehow this had been encouraged for a long time with Christianity. But in Christianity we have three parts to our being, like soul, spirit, and body. But somehow body gets disregarded a lot. Yeah, so now we praise the intellectual side. We enjoy the intellectual side. We don't like talking about body. We don't like going to body. We don't like looking at body. It's like it's shameful to have a body. No, it's not. And Lawrence shows in his different works that it is a very big part of nature, a very big part of life, which should not be ignored. Yeah? Which has its own magic, which is different from the intellectual magic, intellectual side. So as we look at it from the intellectual side, it looks like, no, it's vulgar, it's dirty, ew, it's animalistic, it's like an animal, a beast, but only from the intellectual side. Okay? If you can change your point of view, if you're flexible, you can see it from his point of view, and he says, no, it's not vulgar, it's natural. You may agree or disagree again, but that's what he says and what he does. It makes you remember that you do have a body, which is great. Yeah? Now you can tell me how you feel about it. Do you feel like you have a body most of the time?
I think that, nowadays, we're not as strong as we used to be because we have got a lot of, diseases.
Mm-hmm.
And as I've had I had a lot of struggles with my body due to health. So it seems that it's better to reject your feelings about your body, to feel the pain, to feel the good stuff, the bad stuff, just to feel that you're tired, and it's better to just, kind of put a block on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, as you said, he's quite natural, but he's also very, he goes down to all the sensations. Like, he speaks about the sensual stuff, like, touching, feeling,
Yeah.
there was this famous series of medieval tapestries. It was called The Lady and the Unicorn, and it's just 6 tapestries, and they show different senses of people, like with your hands, with your eyes, with your nose, with the taste, and blah blah blah. And the last one, the 6th, is very controversial. It's about 6th sense, but people argue about it still. What does it mean? What does it show? What it's about? And somehow I felt that he's also, even though he's talking about senses, like, touching, seeing, maybe feeling the nose. He's also talking about the sixth sense, when you feel the body of more things around you.
Mm-hmm.
But is it natural to think so much about your body? Isn't it much more natural, unless you're sick, to think about something else?
So that's a good question. How do you approach your body? Do you pay no attention to it until it starts falling apart? Or do you pay attention to it anyway? It's like, again, a common comparison would be having a car. So you don't take your car to the garage to have a look at it only when it starts breaking down. Anything that you use, and a body is a thing in that sense, anything that you use needs your attention. Whether it be a cup or a body, it needs constant attention, a constant care. So, is it? Do we notice it? We don't notice it, it's true. We don't notice it until we start getting sick, unless we put our mind on it, on noticing our body. Because when do you start being sick? When you do not pay attention to your body, to the way you walk, the way you breathe, what kind of food do you put in, what kind of water, if nothing else, do your morning exercise or not, helps. Yeah. So no, you don't think that morning exercises help you?
Well, I'm not sure. I haven't tried.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't it? There was a story about this centipede or whatever that was asked by some well-wisher. Oh, how do you manage with your 100 legs?
Well, yeah.
Centipede stuff. Okay. And that was.
That's only the beginning of the story. If you follow the story to the end, then you will see that the centipede only gets confused at first. The first realization, that's confusing, new information, new awareness. Then, little practice, you do your walking, but you do it in a much more interesting, deep way than before, because now you're aware of it. Okay? So you might be confused at first. It's like you start doing something new. It's normal. Like I started doing something new today. Finishing just the 5 minutes before this thing. So does it look very beautiful? No, because I only did it for the first time today. So it's rubbish, but it's nice. It's good. So, just a bit of like drawing, but all skills come with practice. If you don't practice, then how can you have a skill? How can you have a skill of being in your body, of managing your body, if you never do it, if you don't even think about it? And Lawrence brings our attention to that important question. That's what he does. It doesn't matter if he talks about whales or elephants. Mm-hmm. Because he talks about elephants and but mainly he talks about people, so it's like okay. Now why would he choose whales for his poem? Why not talk about bees or mice mating?
Well, first of all, he talks about the sea, the cold sea with his field, with water blood, and I think whales, they are one of the deepest animals which live in the sea. And plus elephants, they do have fountains out of their spine or head, I don't remember. and it is a metaphor for him. Like it's a natural process for them to do this fountain. I don't remember why they do it, but they still do it. So he has the sea now, he has this natural process, and after that, I think he started to build his poem around.
Sergey? Why do the whales, not mice?
Well, for a big talent, mice are too small. So he only thinks his talent should be compared to some really mighty whales. I don't know.
Well, I guess I agree with you here, because he wants to show it, he wants to show how big it is. So he talks about whales and elephants in another story. Because if you say whale, then it's automatically really, really big. So you say sea, that's big. You say whale, it's big again. If you look at whales mating, then you really can't miss it. Okay. Now let's look. They say the sea is cold.
Sorry.
Yeah?
Just a brief, because you know much more about whales than I do. Both of you, I mean. Is it something that you can really see a lot, or is it something that you have to arrive at this scene knowing that now, instead of bird watching, you're going to see the thing described in the poem? So you can't be there, you can't happen there by accident. You have to arrive on purpose.
If you live in Canada or if you live in Greenland, you probably see them a lot. But
because you live in Greenland.
Yeah, but I think that mostly we know whales from, Pinocchio fairy tale.
Which is biblical.
And I think, which is biblical. And also somehow from the Bible, because as I remember, there were whales. And I think so I think you're right, they kind of mythical creatures for us, which makes them, even more poetic. Because we can only imagine them as some mysterious animals which live deep down the sea or ocean, and it's so hard to catch them.
Okay. You mentioned a big head and a small body. Dolphins are known to be quite smart. Is it also true for whales? Are they really smart for their enormous size?
Well, size and intelligence are not connected, for one thing.
Yeah. So
well, they do have a society, a complex society, but then lots of animals do. How do you measure intelligence anyway?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you can only measure something you understand. How do you understand intelligence? Who is intelligent enough flow of events? No more questions.
Okay.
Now I know everything I need to know about whales.
Good. Okay, so let's look at this first stanza. What's happening in the first stanza? We start with, they say the sea is cold, but the sea contains the hottest blood of all and the wildest, most urgent. So what do we create in these first lines?
We create the environment, the location, the place, and also, talk about features of this place and about its secrets. So we kind of deep down from the very first line, like we just go under the water.
So we have no land.
There's also, and there's also this expression, I just thought about it, that in still waters, something dangerous is hiding. I don't remember how exactly you say it, but it gave me some links.
Yeah. So how do we feel it inwardly? How is it related to our inner map?
Well, you know, they say that each human being is a whole universe, and we've got so much stuff inside us, and a lot of this stuff, you know, is still a mystery for us, even for science. So we're still trying to figure out how do we work with, how do we work exactly? Why do we do this? Why do we do that? And
Well, I mean, science doesn't know how we walk. That's a mystery for science. Science doesn't know how we read. For goodness sake. Oh, the science. Oh, no. Well, yeah, so,
And also, I think it talks about this hottest blood might be, you know, the hidden emotions, which we either afraid to show or which we don't show that much. But he talks about how so much passion hides inside us. Wow, that's what that means.
and on the surface is cold, a sea is cold, they say.
And cool.
The surface is cold, but as you look beneath the surface, then you have all sorts of wild things going on, which we don't always like to admit or to show. Huh? So why do we have icebergs? In the first stanza?
Look at it again. So we have...
A dive beneath the icebergs.
Yeah. So the iceberg is known to be this huge piece of ice, which tiny top is on the scene. So we see this tiny little, well, for us it's not little, but it's still a little ice, let's say ice field. But when you go down, you see that it's really huge and it's dangerous. So I think that maybe he also talks about it, that you dive beneath something very big, very heavy, which blocks the way.
Sergey?
Sigmund Freud. I'm not Sergey, I'm Sigmund Freud today.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Sergey Freud.
There's something hidden. Freud said there's something which is really an iceberg, and that is our subconscious. This is something which is really hidden from us. But this is the most important part, he said, and based on all sorts of desire, it's what really governs us.
Wow.
And that's the idea. Of course, I'm simplifying things, but for the purpose of this discussion, I think it's true to say that for Freud and his followers, lots of things are determined by something outside of our control, something which is inside us, but something which operates outside our control, something we can repress, something we can try to hide from ourselves. And this is a good introduction to Sigmund Freud's thinking. There's an iceberg which looks much smaller than it really is, and the most important part is hidden beneath. And that's where these right whales, the sperm whales, are. And again, this contrast: cold, rational; hot, irrational; wild, white breath. Okay.
Yeah, good.
Created.
Then again, surely we can argue it's like if subconsciousness is hidden from us, then how do we know about it?
Well, Freud knows everything.
Well, he does. He does. He's a superhuman. He comes from another planet. Okay.
Superhuman is from Khan, isn't it?
Superhuman is from... What was the planet
From
of
Nietzsche,
Superman?
yeah.
What was Superman's planet?
Krypton.
Yeah, they're from Krypton.
Okay.
So Nietzsche is from
You know,
Krypton.
Yeah,
Alien,
both of
Krypton has a kryptonite. This bloke is superpower.
Or maybe we should also mention Jung in this case, because obviously whales have something archetypical about them too, like wild and big and sporting in the sea, freely.
and young. Young.
Yes. Okay, so wider and wilder. All the whales in the wider depths, like wilder depths. What are they as
Yeah,
the
so
urge?
they would.
And we name all these different kinds of whales. We don't just say whales. We say right whales, sperm whales, hammerheads, the killers, which are all sorts of whales. We make them plural. Hey?
It's like when we say the right whales, the sperm whales, the hammerheads, the killers. It's lots and lots and lots of energy involved, including destructive energy. Again, something that Nietzsche or Freud probably appreciate. So that's the marvel. That's what D.H. Lawrence really likes.
So we start with something neutral. We start with neutral, like right whales, like right, not wrong. And then we say sperm whales, which is like getting there. So actually, when I was looking for that poem now, and I looked at it at the first sight, and they were like putting asterisks over the word sperm. No, you can't say sperm whale. So, and then we have, hammerhead, so hammer becomes a bit aggressive. And then plainly the killers. And then there they blow. And what kind of a blow is that? So we know that he means the fountain, the blow, but also as it comes after the word hammer and killer, also blow, like a forceful blow. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay? And then what happens? And they rock through the sensual ageless ages. Where are we? What is it? Where are we? What is it?
We are on the depth of the sea. We are down there.
So where do we have sensual ageless ages? Do we have it in normal life? In 3D? Do you think about your life like sensual ageless ages? Is that what your life is like?
No.
So where is it?
I think only in times when you have so much emotion inside you that you just think in them, and your feelings are so strong that they are the only thing you can think about, the only thing you can feel, but it happens not often in such a rare cases.
Sorry, is it about emotions, or is it about sensual, something which is at a much deep level? Yeah.
Senses are more basic than emotions.
Yeah, that's
Emotions
what I mean.
rule you.
I mean,
Emotions drive you unless you really control them. But senses is your input. Emotions is your output. Senses is your input. I guess. Okay, so we have ageless ages, which is more like a mythological structure, a mythological place where you don't have time. It's out of time. It's ageless. So what they do there, the whales, it happens out of time. It's always true. It is forever. It's the stuff of legends. Yeah? Okay? And ageless ages. On the depths of the seven seas, so we continue this kind of a mythological landscape, or should we say seascape. Why do we say seven seas? So again, 7, like the last time, eh?
Yeah,
have 7.
magic number.
A magic number. And the depths. Deep, we go deep. Through the salt they reel with drunk delight, and in the tropics tremble they with love. Interestingly, so we had a cold sea, and they were hot in it. Now we encompass all the globe, if you believe in globe, if you don't think that Earth is flat, or a disc, which might be the case. There are lots of people who believe it is the case. Well, anyway, any case, now we go to the tropics, from the icebergs, the cold regions, to the tropics. So everywhere on the planet, whether it's flat or not, we have the whales doing their thing, and it's always in contrast. If the sea is cold, they're hot with desire. If it's hot, they tremble. Usually we tremble when it's when we shiver with cold. With love, and roll with massive, strong desire like gods. So you see how he does it. He creates the background first by setting this mythological scape, seascape, landscape, place, mapping. And now he can say that they are like gods. And that feels natural, because we are prepared. And again, he says like they're massive, they're strong, they're great, big, and no nonsense. Comments?
I agree. Well, I agree. I just also thought that when you said that we had very cold place, we had icebergs, and we had very hot place, tropics. It's not only about, all around the world, but it's also about two extremes. It's extremely cold, and from extremely coldness, it came to extreme hotness.
Yeah, straight to tropics.
Yeah, so these senses, they on the edge.
Maybe they warm up the sea with their hot blood. They're so hot that they turn icebergs into tropics around them. Maybe.
Yeah, I just don't feel like this sport is about, half tone. It's about this full senses, feelings, whatever it is, but it's kind of about all or nothing. At least I got a sense of that.
What sense do you have, Sergey?
Well, I'm still with my previous idea about something which is sensual and irrational as compared to something which is rational, something which is destructive as compared to something which is productive. But probably that's not the idea that emerges in these few lines of the extent.
has dogs?
I have
Ah,
outside, so I can do anything. I mean, he or she is on the street, so okay.
okay.
That's their response to the problem.
So, the another question that we have here. So they tremble with love. They're like gods, not gods, small g. So we have like a common misunderstanding or misinterpretation when they say God is love, and people understand it as love is God, which is really different. So, of course, when you say love, you may mean lots and lots of different things by that. So what is love in here?
Physical love.
Sexual act of life.
Maybe it's love for life. Maybe. Okay, so a role with massive, strong desire, like gods. So they don't have any problems. They don't think about anything. They just do what they like. They just enjoy what they're doing. And then the great bull. So we have bull.
Enjoy. I'm sorry. Do they enjoy? They don't think about it. Can they enjoy it? Enjoy it.
Why not? You can enjoy a good walk even if you don't think about it.
Well, you can enjoy something if you know that there's joy and there's sorrow. If you don't know anything about it, if you are just irrational, destructive creature, can you enjoy anything?
Well,
Can you really enjoy
no.
anything?
You don't need to be educated to enjoy basic things. You enjoy fresh air, but you don't think about like, oh, why is fresh air good for me? Let's do some calculations. You just enjoy it. You might never try some kind of food, but you try it, you enjoy it. Your body knows it's good. You don't need, again, it's about intelligence and body. So what you say is coming from the side of intelligence. You can't really enjoy something if you haven't done your homework, your calculations. Well, but the body says, well, maybe you can.
Okay.
So the great bull, now the whale turns into bull, and a bull is something we understand, because a whale is kind of, again, a mythical creature like we said in the beginning, but a bull is something more understandable, closer to our reality. And again, what do we think when we say bull? So we say bull, we bring bulls into the sea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Bull, bulldog. A dangerous animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like wants blood. Corrida.
Mm-hmm. So again, big, massive, dangerous. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You have to stay away from it.
Well, maybe not always, but yeah. Mm-hmm. And maybe you think about cosmic bulls, which are like in the sky and like idols. Maybe you think about gods, which are like bulls. Maybe you just think about physical animal, which is strong in itself.
Maybe you think about bulldozers.
Bulldozers. Uh-huh. Okay. Then the great bull lies. Mm-hmm.
No. Keep going. So he's the great bull, and he.
Okay, and then we have an interesting connection. We have a bull and not a cow, which would be like a bit offensive, but a bride, which is poetical. And if we have a bull, the bride, and the sea, what do we have? What legend? What myth?
it's Zeus and this girl he fell in love with. I don't remember the name. Europe. Her name was Europe. And he saw her. He kidnapped her, and he turned into the bull, and he
stole her
through the sea as a bull. Yeah, he stole her, and he had to swim through the sea with her, and he was sitting on his back. And I actually don't remember the rest of the story, but Europe was named after this girl.
Yes. So what we do here, then, on one hand we bring in this big animal, the bull, but then by calling the female his bride and not his cow, which would be a more technical term, we also develop this idea of gods, godlike creatures. Now we have Europe. And again we bring the mythological background. And then we have the blue, deep bed of the sea. So the word bed here is understood quite literally. It becomes an actual bed for them.
Seabed.
A real bed now. As mountain pressing on mountain in the zest of life. So he isn't shy. He likes using his big, juicy metaphors. You can really see it, you can feel it. Mountain pressing on mountain, how strong is it? It is strong. In the zest of life. So why do we do it? Why do they do it? What's their idea? What's their meaning? Why do they do what they do?
On one hand, it feels like they make this great love, really, really great, like everything is safe. And on the other hand, it feels like they're having a fight, because, mountain press on mountain, it must be really harsh.
So what does he refer to, mountain pressing on mountain? What is it? Is it the place where you start blushing?
No, I don't get it actually.
A mountain pressing on mountain, is it the place in the poem where you start getting hot in your face?
I mean, no, I don't get the line. I don't get what's the meaning of the line.
Good for you.
I haven't even thought.
Well, you see?
Think about it, like, no, I don't think, I do understand that you mean that he means something sexual,
Well, what he says,
I don't get it.
well, there's a lot of aggression in the three-letter word, So the question is it supposed to be like that, or do they do it wrong, maybe? So,
well, in mythology, in classical mythology, it feels like it should have aggression, but aggression equals passion a lot of the times. But I don't think it should be this way, but generally it is believed that such aggression proves that you really, really love somebody, that you...
well, says who? Says somebody really aggressive, I guess.
Yes, there's a lot of people who don't really get what a healthy relationship.
So somehow in this reality we are in, I'm not saying it should be like that, in this reality we have the connection between fight, aggression, and the physical passion and love. Why should it be so is a big question. As mountain pressing on mountain in the zest of life. Oh, hello.
Well, they both very strong emotions, very strong feelings, and they last for quite a time, and also they are extreme, just like cold and hot. depression and passion, they do have a lot of differences, but they are like. They have a lot in common.
Yes.
So now mountains are moving. Passion makes mountains move. So he says here, among other things. Out of the inward roaring of the inner red ocean of well blood. So now we start to dissolve. Now the outside and inside get mixed. We had a sea outside, but now it's an ocean inside. We had cold sea outside, and now it's a hot ocean inside. We go inside, literally. Then we have this very interesting and illustrative little bed, where he really enjoys describing it. You can't say it's bad, because he's like talking about whales. And he shows you that it is like big and strong and powerful in its way. We have the two sides now. We have the male and female. And instead of opposing them like people usually do, like, oh, female means you're weak or means you're beautiful. He does it too, but it's like, oh, you are worse, you're better. You're male, you're worse or better. He shows you the harmony. He says maybe we should stop being idiots and just be who we are. A male and female are here for a reason. Maybe he doesn't talk about like biological males and females, but more like kind of energies, they like to say these days. Kind of inward feeling, inward behavior. We have something which is strong and intense, male, and we have, which is active, and we have soft, wild, interesting, wild, female, which takes it in to keep. Two sides in harmony. They're not fighting. They're not trying to see who is better, who is stronger. They all have their parts to play. It's more like in physics and mathematics, where you have positive charge and negative charge, which are not really competing. They just coexist. And the she-whale here is really big and fantastic, and her body is fathomless. She's like a goddess. Endless, fathomless. And over the bridge of the whale strong something, a link in the wonder of whales, the very archangels under the sea keep passing back and forth. Wow. You see what he does here? He starts with talking about whales having their little fun in the sea. But we already had the connection with myth, with the mythical scape. And now we see it more clearly. Now we actually have archangels. And they're burning. They're burning under the sea. So do you often think about burning archangels under the sea when you think about whales?
No.
No.
Never.
Not really.
Ever.
So why bring it here?
I mean, I have a suggestion. I'm not sure it's right, but in French language there is an expression. I know my French spelling is awful, but it's something like après moi le déluge or something like that. So after me comes the flood. So it feels a little bit like no, I don't know French. My mom knows French because she studied 11 years at school, and I've never ever had a French book. feels like really gonna be when you really love someone and you're ready to give up the whole world for him. You stay against the world around you, and you're just ready to burn everything around you, everyone around you, and just live in a little closed world and help.
Yeah. So, Sergey, why do we have archangels burning? Do you think that the well strong something is a good bridge for archangels? Is it where we usually see archangels?
Well, we don't usually see archangels somewhere down there. Down there, it's some fallen creature, and I wonder
unless they're not fallen, in which case it's normal and good and natural, because that was the first thing that God told people: multiply. How are you supposed to multiply? Like mushrooms?
Are they people or are they whales?
These are, it doesn't matter, they're people, in sense creatures. So if you're fallen, then you're not supposed to look there, to go there. If you're not fallen, if you're in the state of paradise, then you do it naturally. Again, there's no problem in it. There's nothing dirty about it.
Okay. Let them have fun.
So we have the bridge, or something that links two sides. Yeah, we have archangels walking then back the bridge. So the image of angels or archangels walking then back is not new. Makes you think about Jacob's ladder, for instance. You know, Jacob's ladder? Jacob's ladder?
No.
So we had that guy called Jacob who was fleeing from his brother because he did something not really nice to him. And he fell asleep in the desert on his way, and he had a rock under his head. And then in a dream, or in a vision, he saw a ladder, and there were angels coming down and up this ladder. It's a bit mysterious bit, and it's translated differently in different places. But basically, that's what he saw: angels going up and down, or down and up the bridge. And then there was God coming to Jacob and saying, "No worries, mate, you'll be just great." So we had it in a very important moment, very deep, very strong. Now we have the same imagery connecting with whales doing their thing. Why?
Well, as far as I remember, this Jacob's ladder is something that is often seen as a way up there to heaven. And there are certain religious writers, old religious writers, who describe ways of making sure no passions affect you, no bodily, worldly things affect you. Instead, you concentrate on what God wants from you. And that's how you climb this ladder. It's just going down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper, maybe falling down if I still insist on that method, which I did.
Has somebody fallen asleep?
No, it's just everybody's by what I
Yeah, I'm just trying.
It's much more talking than D.H. Lawrence could imagine.
So maybe he's having fun with the idea. Maybe he's trying to say you're a bit boring. You have forgotten what it is to be real. You have forgotten that your body is a very important part of your being here. Maybe that's what he says. Maybe he says God doesn't really care about your silly ideas. God had given you your body to use. So why do you neglect it? Maybe that's what he's trying to say. And of course we have burning archangels going there and back, sort of, I guess, reflecting the process, making it stronger. As for archangels being burning, it's like normal for archangels to be burning. So we have keep passing archangels of bliss. So God approves. From him to her, from her to him. So he and her. And now it doesn't have to be whales. Maybe just he and her, as in big he and big her, general. A great cherubim. So you see the progression. First we just set the background. Then we mention gods with small g. Then we think about Zeus of Europe, the bull. Then we have archangels. Now we have specific archangels, cherubim, that wait on whales in mid-ocean, suspended in the waves of the sea, great heaven of whales and waters, old hierarchies. So why do we have cherubim now? Who are the cherubim? No? Okay, so we have different sorts of angels. Okay, different sorts of angels, including seraphim and cherubim. So supposedly there are 10 different kinds of angels, though there might be different views on it. But anyway, the cherubim are the second highest. What they do is they pray, they bliss. The name means somebody who prays, somebody who who blesses. And they serve on God. In fact, they stay at God's throne. They're like wind, and people or God or some other guys, you can ride on them like on wind. They're really important and big. So here they wait on whales instead of waiting on God, which again shows that what they do, how they do, and who they are is big and important. On a very, very big global scale, universal scale, because even the cherubim treat them like they treat God normally. Suspended in the waves of the sea, great heaven of whales in the waters, old hierarchies, and of course we have lots of w sound. And maybe it's like a whale singing. Wait on whales, waves, whales, heaven, waters, old hierarchies. And then if we skip it a bit, then we can see that later on the cherubim turn into the seraphim. And the seraphim are the highest angels, highest archangels here. So it's like if the cherubim have 4 wings, then the seraphim have 6 wings. And they are actually connected with fire, burning. The name is interesting. Seraphim, serpent. So the seraphim are really intriguing angels, because on one hand they're burning, they're connected with fire, they're the highest angels ever. At the same time, the name means like dragons, means serpent. You can see serpent, seraphim. Has 2 meanings. Means snake, serpent means burning, and burning a serpent like a dragon. So here, do we have burning angels or do we have burning snakes? Serpents. Maybe that's where angels show their true faces. Or same as like, if they come to whales, then they can be snakes. maybe. So, great heaven of whales in the waters, old hierarchies. So what do you think about the seraphim?
Great fierce seraphim.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a threat that they have to face, and in order to defend their huddled monster of love, they form a circle, don't they?
Well, yeah, so we have that stanza about enormous mother whales lie dreaming, suckling their well-tender young, and dreaming of strange whale eyes wide open in the water, so the beginning and the end. So again we have that strange place at the beginning and the end, those timeless waters. Again we have mother whales suckling their well-tender young. So we are what Lawrence shows here, that not only the intercourse but also pregnancy, childbirth, they're all a part of nature. Yeah, they're also a big part of life, and it's here it's like dreaming, dreamlike when it happens to them. Dreaming, strange whale eyes wide open. So why we have this strange image of the females dreaming? Maybe that's what the females really do. They dream in timeless waters, while the males do the activities. Who knows? So bull whales.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, are females really dreaming?
Lie dreaming with strange whale eyes.
Okay.
Dreaming.
I really think it's mostly about even females, about the mother figure, because in
mother.
especially in Greek knowledge.
Yes, it's about mothers. Calls.
Of the mother goddess, her name, okay. Yeah, the moon goddess. So it's mostly about, not about the female figure, but about the birth.
Yes.
It's the beginning, the mother, some kind of power which keeps the children, who are both men and women, around.
Well, yeah, because when a woman gives birth, she crosses the line. It's like initiation, especially in earlier times, when each time they were given birth, it was like facing death. Each time they were given birth, they could die very easily. And they were given birth like every year, more or less, all the time. So in that sense, the females, mothers, were considered really, really powerful and strange creatures, because they go into death. So males can't do it. Males need some special rituals, initiations, and all sorts of strange things, while the female may just follow her nature and face death on like daily basis or yearly basis. Maybe that's what they mean.
Okay.
So we have a look again, male female balanced. What the females do, they lie dreaming, suckling their young. What the males do, bull whales gather their women or whale calves in the ring when danger threatens on the surface of the ceaseless flood. So they're protective, they are, again, maybe aggressive, you may say.
You know, you said that cherubim, they can turn into other forms, and the highest form of angels. And I think it's interesting that now we have blue whales. So we had whales and bulls separately, and now they're combined.
Yes.
So maybe after they waited in the water for some time, they became like the highest version of themselves.
Yeah, could be. Could be. Sergey?
Blue whales, not women.
So they turn into the great fierce seraphim. And you think about seraphim, angels. What do you think when you think about angels? Oh, sweet, lovely, nicey nice. No, they're not. No, they're not. Especially the seraphim, who are like the warrior angels. They're fierce.
Right.
What do you say?
Who do they fight?
Oh, who do they
They
fight?
are warring.
Who do they fight? Who knows? Who can tell me?
You mean who do blue whales fight, right? No.
Who do these seraphim fight? Because they're like warrior angels.
Yeah.
Why do you need warrior angels?
That's what they fight or help us to fight.
So after Lucifer's little adventure, they're fighting demons, I suppose. Maybe. And maybe it's a way of...
Say that, interesting to say that our feelings, emotions, our demons.
So we don't like feelings and emotions. We like to be like a Cyberman. Like little robots that have no emotions. Is that where the world is going to?
Yeah.
Is it really good? No, no, let's fight, let's call in all the seraphim. Facing the threat. We have lots of explosive sounds here. Threatens, surface, sizzlers, flood, range themselves like great fierce seraphim facing the threat. Encircling huddled monsters of love. The monsters of love. What is it? What is it? Is it a name for a metal rock band, Monsters of Love? Or is it a name for a adults only channel? Or is it Monsters of Love? That's a monster.
Maybe like the dark side of love. Hi. Oh my god, he's so cute. You know, such dark emotions from love, like for example, jealousy, envy, desire to possess your hurt would be on yours. So like the other side of the coin.
Maybe monster just means big. In the sense like Loch Ness monster means it's just big. It doesn't mean it's bad or horrible, just big. Monster of love means really big, massive. And
Really big.
And all this happens in the sea, in the salt. So we had salt before. Salt. Through the salt they reel with drunk delight. Again, drunk. Drunk is something, a Dionysian, not Apollonian. So we look at the Dionysian side of the universe here. Or something we miss in society a bit, maybe. Also, we do have two sides, Apollonian, Dionysian. I guess you know about it. Now Apollonian side is really too big. It suffocates the Dionysian. So you're not supposed to be free and happy. You're supposed to be, well, orderly. just repeating what you're told and not being creative. But not here, not in this poem. In this poem you can be as wild as you like and be not ashamed. You do not feel guilty about being free. How on earth can you feel guilty about being free if you don't hurt anyone, if you just do what you like without troubling other people? How? What is this reality where people are afraid to show emotions, to laugh or to, I don't know, to do something silly? Because no, it's not Apollonian enough. You can't do it. But God is also love. So we had from gods, small gods, Zeus, zest of life, and then a bull, Zeus, then archangels, cherubim, seraphim, now God. We are climbing up. God is also love, but without words. Love doesn't need words. And Aphrodite is the wife of whales, most happy she. So if we have God, which is like a male in our understanding, although obviously God is neither male nor female. So we have, but in our imagination we see God as a man, masculine being. And now we have to balance God. We have Aphrodite and Venus, who is.
Do you think he named Aphrodite and Venus by different names to show like based on different mythologies, or it's just like the versions of one goddess?
Well, they're not really. They're different goddesses. They come from different places, different cultures. They were united later, but originally they're really different. You can study it. You can study it. Like Venus is more local, and Aphrodite comes from some funny place. But then they get united. That's true. But we know that Aphrodite, they are connected with the sea foam, yeah, and love. So now we have sea and love connected through Aphrodite. And she's the wife of whales, most happy she. Makes you feel happy, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's also funny that Aphrodite, she came from the sea. And she was surrounded by these, white parts of the sea when there's a wave, and it has white stuff on the edge. So it's funny that this is our goddess. I think it was obvious, but so.
Sergey?
Well, yes. I don't know.
Okay, do we like to have Aphrodite next to Christian God? If you're very orthodox, how does it make you feel?
No, I'm a little bit confused, and not because it's not right, but because you can see the straight link. Like if he would have mentioned Zeus, just Zeus, the Christian God, and what was and Jupiter from Roman mythology, it would feel more convenient, more natural, because he's just comparing pretty much similar gods just from different mythologies. And here it all just feels very mixed. You can see this point from the start, just by looking at it and saying like, oh, I know what he meant. You have to read it a couple of times and think about it.
Well, that's why it's called slow reading.
And Venus. Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh yeah, so now why Aphrodite and Venus? Why not just have one of them? So when you say Aphrodite, what do you think about, apart from the musical band?
About, I don't know if it's the same, but...
Aphrodite's child.
Okay, I'm gonna check it. But I think about pretty much about the goddess of beauty, the goddess who is a woman, And when you say Venus, I think about goddess of love mostly.
Also, maybe if you say
I don't know why,
Aphrodite, she's more fancy. Her name is more fancy. What? Her name is more fancy.
You just think about, you just start to think about this, famous painting when
Yeah.
from the shell and all this stuff.
And Venus is connected with the planet
So,
as well. We don't have a planet Aphrodite.
Love.
So Venus is, I guess, Venus is a bit stronger in sound. Aphrodite is all like a sea foam, a light and a fairy sounding.
Venus is more universal.
Venus is stronger, has stronger sounds in it. Venus, again, turning different faces. Aphrodite, Venus. Among the fishes, skips and is a she-dolphin. She is a gay, delighted porpoise, sporting with love and the sea. So it's really nice because now you're not allowed to say gay, I sent a poem to a magazine recently, and it had the word gay in it, in the sense like here, happy, bright. I was like, no, you can't use the word gay unless you mean the sodomites. If only if you mean it in a happy way. Like, what? What are you doing to the language? You crazy? So, gay is a good word. I think we should bring it back. So, how can they have a monopoly on such a good word? They can call themselves what they like, but they can't have a monopoly on the word. So anyway, she is a gay, delighted porpoise, sporting with love in the sea. So we have all the different kinds of fish words here. That's a big fish. And again, we have the multitude. Same as in the beginning, we had all different kind of whales, which are big, serious, right whales, sperm whales, hammerheads, killers. Now we have again different kinds of fish. Among the fishes, plural, dolphin, porpoise,
I think we should remember
tuna fish.
that whales, they eat fish and skip.
So the sea is full of life.
It's all about the delays in Skype. So I'm just starting to say something and then.
It's a bit funny.
Just said that whales, they eat fish and skips, and that's all. So it's intriguing in a way. Fish found happy among the male.
So again, if you look at the fish, do you usually scratch your head like thinking, is it a he fish or a she fish? Do you often ask yourself the question?
No.
No, but he can see that all beings are not just abstract beings, they are boys and girls, male, female. And so he says, she-dolphin, female tunny fish. Female tunny fish. You don't know what she does.
So funny, like female.
At like 7 in the morning or 6 in the morning, it just comes to me and starts like, wake up, wake up. Well, fair enough, fair enough.
I didn't need an alarm. Like, he will be.
I mean, she really likes the company. Or when she says, I have a lesson.
Hello, you beautiful.
She likes attention. Each time I have a lesson, any time, you may imagine. Okay, so we have happy goddesses, goddess happy. The whole situation is really happy and big and happy, and whales weep not. So it's like, come on people, stop worrying. you will always find an excuse to worry, but why? Why would you worry? If you're really in tuned, if you're really connected, if you can see the archangels rushing there and back, then you have no case to worry. You know, there's no reason to worry. If you're not, then there will always be some kind of a problem. You will always find some kind of a problem, like, no, now it's the, what is it? What is it everybody's mad just about now? I forgot.
Coronavirus.
Oh, that thing, yeah. So you say, no, we have that problem, we have this problem. But if you're a whale in your heart, in your soul, if you like whales, you're like, oh, come on, people, just relax. No problem. Right. Anything else to say here? Anything else to add?
Well, and then he started from the hottest blood and he ends the blood, like the happy blood.
You have lots of blood in it, but it's like happy blood. So blood can be horrible and heavy and
red.
satanic.
And love is red.
And blood can be happy, like life. Blood is life. But it's happy blood.
Okay.
And it's dark rainbow bliss in the sea. So we have things which are normally in the sky, like angels, rainbows. Now we have them on the sea. That's a happy cat. Okay, right. Anything else?
Okay. Do you think we will have a lesson next week?
Well, we can do it on Skype because everything's gonna be closed. But we can do it on Skype like this. Then hopefully they will open up again. Then we'll continue just normal meetings.
Yeah. Oh, could you please also send me the name of this boy, Jacob?
Jacob's Ladder.
Jacob, who? Well, could you please send me his surname because I think I'm gonna misspell it.
Jacob's Ladder. What do you want?
Okay. Thank you.
Well, okay. See you on contact somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's finished.